Episode 3634, Do Fitness Gadgets Tell the Truth?
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Christiane Wargo.
Happy day. You made it halfway. Oh, yes, it's Wellness Wednesday, and I want you to get your body moving. I want you to put food in your body that's going to fuel it, not just for 30 minutes, not even for 5 minutes, for the entire day. But how do you do it? Is it all about the stuff? Do fitness gadgets tell the truth? Let's dive in. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already haven't had the opportunity, you want to head on over to createyournow.com where you can learn more and sign up for the Kisses newsletter, the Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. Well, this episode is brought to you by AIM, inspiring connection and community. You know, living a healthy lifestyle has its own set of rules: diligence, consistency, and intentional actions. Honesty is the name of the game, quite frankly, and it includes all the stuff you need to reach your goals, whether it might be a fitness tracker, pen and paper, or something that's more digital. So the question is, do fitness gadgets tell the truth? Now, I'm sure you're thinking, how can they not? I mean, come on, Christiane, that's really a crazy question. Or maybe you're thinking, no, that's just plain stupid. They are digital products running on an operating system that tracks health and fitness. There's no way where they can't work. What can be wrong? I mean, what could go wrong? I mean, seriously. Well, in reality, and that's what we got to look at, the real deal. Fitness gadgets are only as honest as you are truthful with yourself. Let that sink in for a minute, because it's a mouthful. I know, I just said it. Now I have to remember what I said. In reality, fitness gadgets are only as honest as you are truthful with yourself. And that means your work happens first before they work. Imagine all these different things that you can have at your fingertips. Before I got on and recorded and made some notes for this episode, I actually just went to Google and I typed in fitness gadgets. And you know what? Number one, I got all the sponsored pictures, right, where I could go buy things, and it had everything there. And then scroll not even just a little bit, and there it was, Amazon. Oh, yes, as big as bold as anything, and it said fitness gadgets. I clicked on the page only to find absolutely everything, from trackers to fitness equipment to apps to, oh my goodness, supplements even. All the stuff that we think for whatever reason we have to have in order to be successful. And in fact, sometimes I think we have to have them before we even get started. So imagine this: the Body Pod by Hume Health, the Oura Ring Gen 4, Fitbit or Apple Watches, the CGMs, which is your continuous glucose monitors, workout apps, food trackers, fitness equipment, and everything in between, right? I could go on and on and on. We could do the strength and conditioning bands. You could sit there and do something just for your biceps, triceps. You could get something, do you remember? Okay, you probably do not remember Suzanne Summers. Okay, if you do, yes, high five. Remember the Thigh Master. I had to say it that way because if you know it, you can picture, right? There's no way around it. But seriously, there is so much out there. The landscape of fitness gadgets are just that. There's so much. It's infinite. And when you look at it, the question there really comes to, are they serving you well? Should you even invest in them? Like, where do you draw the line? Well, if you're thinking of something new, because guess what? We're now almost to the end of the first quarter. We're getting closer and closer. Pretty soon, you're going to be going, I am so far away from my New Year's resolutions. But all of a sudden, I know something's around the corner. It's called summer. And I don't want this mom bod or dad bod in something that, I don't feel comfortable in or confident in, whatever C you want to look at. So some of the things you want to consider when you're considering actually using fitness gadgets and investing in them. Well, number one, inaccurate data. That data that you have actually may be false. Do fitness trackers tell the truth? Do fitness gadgets tell the truth? Well, these fitness gadgets may not always provide entirely accurate data. leading to misinterpretation of your health and fitness progress. Depending solely on this data can result in false assumptions about your activity levels, calorie burn, and overall well-being. Now, for some of us, it's like, oh yeah, but it's got to be right. I mean, come on. They've got the proof. No, they're only as good as what you use them, and they're only as good as how you use them to see the patterns, okay? If they are not medically certified and it says, yes, this stands as that, which most of us cannot afford, okay? I mean, let's be frank. Then what happens is you're settling for something based on patterns and average, okay? So you got to be careful of those inaccurate data. Number 2, over-reliance on technology. Do you fall into that? Can you fall into that? Relying too heavily on fitness gadgets can potentially detach yourself from intuitive listening to your bodies, right? How are you listening to yourself? Do you know when you're hungry? Or are you just too busy, so you just eat to eat? Oh, I've been down that road before. Maybe you're stressed, you eat a little bit more, right? Ignoring internal cues and prioritizing external data can lead to unhealthy habits or exercise behaviors that really are not sustainable in the long run. You're looking long term. And if you're sitting here going, oh, this has got to work, and what happens when there's a new generation that comes out? Let's use, for example, the Aura Ring. Let's look at even a scale. A scale now isn't just a scale. Have you ever heard of the Body Pod? And oh, by the way, can I just tell you this? None of these, you're not going to find any affiliate links here in regards to all of these different gadgets. But I will tell you this. Have I used a lot of them? Yes, I have. Do I like some of them? Yeah, it depends. But I'm here to tell you, you have to be smarter than the gadget. Okay? That's my short story. Moving back to the long story. Number 3, false sense of achievement. Yeah. Well, constantly chasing after step counts. Have you ever done that? Oh, my husband has. I have not, honestly. I'm like, I don't care if I meet the star or not. I want it to collect accurate data, right? Or calorie goals, right? Is it doing what it's supposed to be doing? Well, in some apps, you actually have to log your food. It doesn't read what you're putting in your body. And if it does, what did you put on your body to read it? You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. So are you constantly chasing just for the star of the day? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but let's again be realistic. The question is, do fitness gadgets tell the truth? They aren't if you're lying to yourself. Just saying, right? So what happens is if you're just constantly chasing after those little stars set by fitness gadgets, it's going to create a false sense of achievement. You may not actually be doing what your body needs to do. Remember, a lot of this is created based on the average person. And this mindset may overlook other essential aspects of healthy living, such as proper nutrition, rest, and mental well-being, leading to what? Imbalance, right? That'll be your imbalance approach to your overall health and well-being. What matters most? Your longevity, not the average person that they did all these tests to. They ran thousands and thousands and thousands of them to create this. I'm not saying that's bad, but if it doesn't serve you, it doesn't work. So it really doesn't tell the truth. You see what I'm saying here? Keep up with me. Okay, I know you are. You're tracking, aren't you? Yep, see, get it? All right, number 4, dependency on motivation. While fitness gadgets can provide motivation and accountability, solely relying on them for motivation, well, it's risky. If the gadget malfunctions or if the novelty wears off, how many times? I know. Been there, done that. I bought it. In fact, I have something. I'm not going to give you the name. I'll just describe it. It was a necklace and it was a leaf. That's all I'm going to say. If you know it, you know it. If you don't worry about it. They do still exist, but they've had other generations, and I don't honestly know if mine still works, to tell you the truth. I still have everything with it, but I haven't ever worked with it again except for maybe it was only a few months. Why? Because the novelty wore off. I thought it was adorable. I just wore it around my neck. How fabulous. But you see, the problem is if that novelty does wear off, then you're going to struggle to staying consistent, right? That diligence, that consistency is going to wear off. And that means, well, your healthy living habits go out with the dogs. It just, bye-bye, it doesn't work. because you don't have external prompts saying, you got this, where's your star? Are you going there, right? That false sense of achievement. You want it because that helps motivate you, but you're really lying to yourself. So do fitness gadgets really tell the truth? Yes, we keep questioning. And then finally, another thing to consider, number 5, is privacy and security concerns. Now, you're thinking, everything is all right. Really? Have you watched or read anything about what's going on out there? All I'm going to say is TikTok. Then just let your mind wander, okay? Fitness gadgets collect so much of your data, personal data, okay? Like literally your heart rate. That can determine a lot. What would happen if health insurance companies began to tap into this if they haven't already? And if they know that, oh, wait, there's a connection. You need to know where your data is being used and where it's being stored and who are they selling it to. You need to read the fine print. You don't want to because you think it's awesome. It'll do everything for you. And let me tell you, one reason why I do not connect my fitness gadgets to my Apple Health. Why do you think that is? Because I know Apple sells information and I don't trust them. And so I can read some of my own stuff and say I don't want it tracked or whatever, but I don't want to connect it to another app. You see what I'm saying? So know where all your stuff is going, right? Because this stuff is tracking your activity levels, your sleep patterns, and sometimes even where you are. Kind of scary. I know I used to have one of those. I would run, and I would have a GPS locator on it so I could track whether I was going uphill, downhill, however it was, my strides, all of that. Now, I'm not saying it's not great information. The problem is how is that information being used on the other side of me saying, yes, I got to have this gadget. See what I'm saying? All right. So be aware of this. Relying on these gadgets means entrusting sensitive information, your sensitive personal information, with technology that might not always guarantee the highest level of privacy or even security. Potentially what? Putting you really more at risk, right? So we don't want to do that. You've got to be very, very cautious when you go forward with this because there's a ton of stuff with all the stuff, right? You need to know the fine print. Now, if you're one who says, they're tracking me anyway, no big deal. It's all right because everybody knows there's cameras everywhere. It is whatever. You do you. That's all I'm saying. But be aware. That is what I'm saying. If you want to use the latest and greatest fitness gadgets, you need to separate, though, fact from fiction. Do your research. That is your Kiss to Keep It Simple strategy. Separate fact from fiction. You cannot believe everything you read, or you will not succeed. Your health takes personal ownership. Only you can do the work to ensure that what you're doing actually benefits you health-wise. And a lot of times I think that we look at this and so we say, oh, well, this is the best. And let me tell you, I was one of those. I was an early adopter to the Oura Ring. I can't remember which one mine is. I think it's the number 2. Maybe it is number 1. Honestly, I'd have to look it up. But I've had it for a few years now, more than 2 years, I believe. And now they're already on to the 4th generation. Now, I don't know exactly how many times that I've not decided to purchase another one. This one does okay. It does track, but it doesn't do everything. But right now, it does what I need it to do initially, right? What I don't like is having to go to bed with my watch on. Why? Because it gets tangled in my long hair. Now, that's something personal. If you don't have hair, you're not going to have that problem, right? But for me, if my hair's not up, or even if it is up and I have it like in a ponytail, it gets caught. And I'm like, well, this isn't fun. There's nothing like hanging yourself on your own watch, with your hair wrapped around your neck. It's ridiculous. So be smart. Right? Think about what you need and in the way you want to maneuver throughout your day. Okay? Sometimes we don't need all this jewelry hanging all over us, but maybe sometimes we do. And maybe the ring works for you. But make sure it's going to work for you. And really dig deep. So what does it look like in real life? If you're like, okay, Christiane, I want to dive into some of these fitness gadgets. In fact, I've been looking at a few of them. But how do I separate fact from fiction? Number 1, be realistic with expectations. If you are solely dependent on fitness gadgets, set your goals accordingly. Yes, you've got to set those that say, okay, this is for my body, and I have to understand that I've got to look at the patterns for me. It's going to take about a solid month for me to watch this to see how does it really react. When I first started working with CGMs, I had to learn what was my high and what was my low for me, not for somebody else or for the average person, because I'm here to tell you I'm not average, and neither are you. You've got to figure out your own patterns. So what does that look like? All right. And it's going to take a little while to figure it out. So give yourself, in all honesty, a month to watch these and say, okay, now after this month is done, that doesn't mean you can't do things with it, but now you'll be able to say, okay, now I can adjust here and really know that it's going to make a difference. Because maybe you're pounding the pavement thinking it's working, and that's the only thing you're doing. And this fitness tracker that you have, this great gadget that's the end all be all, you're like, it's not showing that I'm doing anything. And quite frankly, my clothes aren't fitting any differently. I'm kind of remaining the same. So what really is happening, right? So be realistic with expectations. Keep in mind that the gadgets, again, have been constructed for the average person. And if you're not average, well, it's not going to work for you as well as it works for them, the average person. Okay, number 2, know what you need. Use your resources when it comes to your health. Talk to your medical provider, your personal trainer, a spouse, a coach, right? Get live interaction like real people with what you're doing and the reason for doing so. Have conversations. Maybe you've got a great mentor. Maybe you've got somebody who's gone through it before and they've used a few of these things. Ask them questions. Nowadays, there are so many groups online that you can find. I don't care if it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, even TikTok, whatever floats your boat. And there may be something else out there, maybe something local within your own community. Talk to people and see what works. See if you can find someone with similar problems or characteristics that you're looking to change, the habits that you want to shift, and say, what helped you? What worked for you? And then what? Don't believe them 100%. Take their word as their word, but now go do your research. And then use your resources, right? Also, be sure to read the reviews. If you're actually going to purchase something, especially online, read the reviews. Most of them are pretty honest. And if you can get the photo ones or the video ones, that's even better. Now, can I tell you this? The reviewers, guess what? They get paid to review. So you've got to be careful. Now, not all of them. Let me preface that. Amazon reviewers do. Now, they are supposed to tell you that, yes, they are an affiliate or they're getting paid for this review, but not all of them do. So don't just look at one or two. Look at a variety. Look at the most recent. Look at the ones that are negative. You know what? Those are the ones I read all the time. I'm like, get me to the ones that have a 0 or a 1. I want to see what that is. Now take me to the top. What are the discrepancies, right? Research goes a long way. Know what you need so you can get what you need to help facilitate your goals and hit what you want to achieve. And finally, number 3, use what you purchase, right? Fact from fiction. If you really want all the bells and whistles, just because you have them doesn't mean it's going to melt away your problems. It doesn't mean the fat is going to melt away. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden it's just going to poof, there comes a muscle. It doesn't work that way. You have to put in the work and use what you purchase to assist in the goals you set for yourself. So remember, you are the boss, not the fitness gadget. Just because you get all these stars doesn't mean you're doing anything for your body. Now, I'm going to tell you a little secret, but you're not allowed to go tell anybody that I told you the secret. So don't call my husband. But seriously, so he has a fitness gadget. And he is all about his stars, like reaching and achieving the goals that he sets. So when he sets them, guess what? He'll sit there and literally just move his arm to make whatever he's doing work for him. And then he's like, yes, I achieved it. I'm like, no, you didn't. You did not. You're sitting there just waving your arm. How does that work? Well, I was doing this. I was really working out. I'm like, working out what? Your pinky? Now, I love him to death. I love him to pieces. But in all honesty, that's not helping his health. Okay? It's just not. So don't be silly like that. You're the boss, not the fitness gadget. Don't get sucked into, I got to get this star and I got to achieve this. No, guess what? Fail a few times and see what it feels like. Does it motivate you more? And if you look at fitness gadgets too, look at their return policy. Be very clear about what you can and cannot do when you're looking at purchasing it, because that's huge too. Some of them will give you like 90 days to try it out. Okay, that might be something that really works, but what if it's something that's so far-fetched or so new that you're like, yeah, I don't know if that's really going to work for me? Maybe you look at other ways of trying something out without the commitment or the expense. You could buy used, and if you really like it, you could buy the latest and greatest. You try it for 6 months. Does it really work? You haven't invested everything, but you invested a little bit. Go on Facebook Marketplace. Again, I'm not getting any money for this, okay? I'm just telling you to be wise, right? I do believe fitness gadgets are fabulous, but your mindset will get you farther than any latest fitness gadget there is out there. It will, just flat out. You have got to be the brain behind your health. And that means you got to do the work. You got to do the research. You got to know your patterns. You got to know where your habits fail you. You got to know what habits you need to change. When you begin to look at all of that, even like if you're going to get a fitness tracker as in a planner, Focus has an incredible wellness planner that they release. In fact, I think their new spring edition has come out. It's the Focus Wellness Planner. Michael Hyatt does it. I'm not endorsing it, but I will tell you, it does look pretty good. And a lot of people rant and rave about it. And the reviews are fabulous. He has a huge following. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for you just because it works for another 5,000 people or whatever it is, right? You need to sit here and say, gosh, I wonder if I would write down things. Has any time you writing down things changed your life? If the answer to that is, yeah, how often? More than 3/4 of the time that I do it, then maybe that's a good idea to look at a fitness planner. Like seriously. But if you're like, no, I'm all digital. I don't want to do anything with writing, then why would you get a fitness planner? Just because you have that doesn't mean it's going to make you better when it comes to your health and well-being. So be wise where you spend your money, right? Your mind and body don't see the money. They only respond to your actions. So it's time for you to take aim. Action ignites motivation. Go in peace. Be present. Be incredible. Be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a glorious, blessed day. Oh, and stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.